Good morning and welcome to Coffee Time with Kauffman, the comfortable place to talk about women's leadership. Today we have Jeevantika Lingalwar with us to talk about today's topic, Don't Hold Back Your Culture. Hey, Jeevantika.
Hi, Maria.
Jeevantika is a young, successful, accomplished leader in STEM, and her story is a powerful example of what is possible for women's leadership. Among her many achievements, she is known for the following: WomenTech Ambassador Global Award for 2021. She's a finalist, Woman of the Year Award 2021. Women Tech Community Global Award 2021. Nominated for Mentor of the Year Global Award 2021. Founder and president of International Women in Tech Ireland Group, and so much more. Jeevantika is going to help us talk about don't hold back your culture. But before I get into that, my name is Maria Kauffman, and I'm a life coach. And today I'm drinking my Tanzania Honey Dark Roast. Hey, Jeevantika, what are you drinking?
Nothing as of now. I just had my coffee a couple of hours ago, so I'm like completely full with it. But I'm glad. I'm also a really big fan of coffees and all. So
Awesome. So it's so nice to have you on the show. Tell us a little bit about your success. 2021 was a huge year for you, it looks like.
it was kind of a big year and lot of things happening. Quite busy year, I would say. And I think it gave me a direction and a lot of stories to give. 2021 was kind of an amazing year.
Awesome. Cool. Let us go back to your early years and tell us anything that you remember from the youngest years possible about how you got an interest in tech at all.
Yeah, sure. So just starting with the background, I belong from India. So originally born and brought up in India. And I have a family of four, my mom, dad, and my brother. I recently got married. So my husband, he lives in Germany. We are kind of in a long distance relationship. Um, so I did my schooling from India. I did my bachelor's from India. I did my bachelor's in computer science engineering from one of the universities in Nagpur. So Nagpur is the name of the city. It's called as Cities of Oranges. It's because it's famous for oranges.
Nice.
And then I was hired in one of the software development industry through campus recruitment in my final year of engineering. So that was a big break for me because soon after graduation, I got a job and it was quite exciting because I got it through campus recruitment. So that was kind of my first success that, I could say in career wise. So it was quite exciting because 2 months after graduation, I moved to a city called Mumbai. And that's where I was working. And that was my first time staying away from family. So I am very close to my parents.
Awesome. How far was that for you?
Well, by train, it took a day.
Oh, okay.
And by flight, it was an hour.
Okay.
So at that time, I usually used to take train because that was my early stage of earning, and I didn't want to spend a lot on flights. So yeah, that was my first time away with the family. As I mentioned, I'm a very pampered kid. I'm a first child, and I have a younger brother who's 7 years younger to me. But it feels like he's the eldest sometimes. He's like so, mature, and he's very talented. He's very intelligent. I mean, I couldn't really reach to his level because the
Really?
way he's into technology, into machines and all. So he's kind of really good in studies and all. Um, so my I started working. I worked there for 1.5 years or something like that, and it felt a little bit boring. I used to code. I was an Android application developer, and I just felt that this is not me. That's not what I wanted to do. But just talking about it before that, why I chose computer science engineering. So that's where the story starts. Why into tech? But honestly, I wanted to be a singer. So I love singing. I kind of you can call me a bathroom singer. But,
That's
um,
awesome.
yeah, and I love singing when I drive, and also I'm like a big fan of music. Actually, I do a lot of activities. So when I was in school, I was an athlete. If people see me now, they wouldn't say really that I was an athlete, because I've actually the COVID has made me miserable.
Oh,
But
yeah, COVID does that though.
COVID does that, yeah. Staying home, eating a lot, sleeping, and all the stuff. But yeah, I used to do a lot of athletic stuff, running, hurdles, long jump, and all the games. And I was a big fan of sports. And so was my dad. So he was very supportive in my sports time, sports activities. So he used to be there in the audience cheering, "Go Jeevantika, go Jeevantika," and that made me, like run more and achieve the goals more.
Oh.
So I guess have collected like hundreds of certificates, and some good number of mementos and medals, of that sports time. And then I used to take participate in plays. So I used to have short hair, like boy cut kind of, in my school time, because my mom loved it. She's like, your short hair suits you more than the long hair. And every time I go back, she's like, cut your hair and all the thing. So that actually being all the tomboyish kind of I used to be like a tomboy. I love fighting with guys and all the thing. And I got a head role in one of the play. So I was acting as one of the top actor in India, so Bollywood actors, because of my short hair. They say, this role would suit you better, and I'm like, okay, fine. I wouldn't mind doing it. And then in one of the other places, as I mentioned, I was really tomboyish kind of, and I love fighting and all. So they gave me a role of one of the female freedom fighter, Ahilya Bai Holkar. So they were like, maybe this role also suits you, so you should do this. So I think I played multiple roles, and it kind of gave me a different energy, even though I was on the reel. So my father has a background of film industry. Before his marriage, he was working in the Bollywood film industry. And when I came, and he left that industry long time back. But he used to tell us a story of like, I want to be in that industry, I want to be talk to your friends and all that, because I didn't want to do all these things. That was my main thing. And as kids, your ambitions change. Then I wanted to be a pilot, then I wanted to be a singer, and all this thing, all the rubbish thing I was talking to my family. Never knew that I'll be ending in the tech industry, and I'll be getting so much off out of these things. And my dad was like, no, the competition is in tech industry, so you should go there. Struggle is in the film industry, and I don't think you deserve doing that, because that industry is not meant for you. So that was a turning point for me. He was like, there are so many people, there is a competition, and you have always been in the competition, right? So you have to go, and you'll eventually see a lot of struggle happening, and also you will get both in your. And I was like, okay. Then my friends they chose computer science, and I was like, okay, I'll go in the computer science field, not really having that ambition that I want to be, techie at some point. So college life, like the university life, for me was total fun. I was an average student, not really good in studies, but I was super active in other activities, like everything from hosting, singing competition, dance competition. I was, lead in one of the fashion shows. So I did that fashion show for 4 years, till I finished my graduation. And I used to be the showstopper for the theme called as Road Rage. So it's all about it was all about, again, that bike rides. I used to ride a bike and do the entrance and all. So that's kind of my background, what I was. And I'm completely different now, but in a different way. And I think then working as an Android developer, it changed a lot in me. I was like, this is not something, because it was a silent job, and you had to sit 13 hours a day coding. And I was like, what am I doing? I mean, like, this is not for me. It just came from within, and I decided maybe I want to get further studies and further degrees. So that's how I chose that I should come to Ireland and do my masters. My mom played a huge role in here. So
Yeah,
she's
tell us about mom.
she's kind of a superwoman in my life. She's my best friend. There is nothing that is hidden from her, and everything. And she knows all my friends. She has all of their numbers because she loved that. She was always that possessive mother that my child should be safe. And I really admire about that. Sometimes it's annoying, but I really admire that story about her. And I think
Yeah.
she took this huge step. We weren't really strong from financial purpose, and somebody going to study abroad needs a lot of financial background, and we were not really good with that. So there was a huge decision that had to be taken, and a big risk, looking at, I have a brother and also all that thing. And my mom was so confident in me that she's like, I will spend in you today, and tomorrow you'll give back to the society that I know. So we don't have to worry for our youngest son, because we know that you'll be there for him, and you'll fulfill all his, whatever requirements he has. So, and there were a lot of people in my family who used to tell my mom, why are you spending so much on your daughter? You have a son. That mentality we also had in the family, that why are you spending it on your daughter? Save it for her marriage and all. So,
Sure.
yeah.
We'll talk about culture, right? That's a strong Indian culture, right?
Yeah, that's a really strong Indian culture. Yeah.
And so your mom, not only was she a great friend and influencer, but that must have been difficult for her to also take on some of those criticisms with that strong belief in her daughter. I love this story.
Yeah, yeah, it was like, I mean, she still cries about it at some point. Like, she gets emotional looking at whatever I'm doing. Every time she shares it on her story as well, WhatsApp story, she'll share it in the group and come in, just like a teasing thing.
With pride. It's
With,
it's a
yeah,
that
with pride. Like,
pride.
she's so proud of it all the time. And every time I have situation at work, or I'm stressed out, or in my personal life, I share it with her. I
Oh.
know, like, she's not very educated, and my professional life she won't understand, but to my surprise she does. And she's like giving me solution always. Doesn't matter if she doesn't understand what problem it is, but she will give me the solution to it. For some reason, I don't know what's into her.
Oh, mom, right?
That's the mom.
That's
So
awesome.
I feel, like mothers are really underrated, and they should be actually treated as one of the successful leaders, and they should be adored for it, admired for it. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, she's kind of a big backbone, and whatever I am is a reflection of her, I would say. And if it wouldn't have been her, I don't think I would have been in Ireland starting my this career, and so successful so far. So she's very strong. She's really amazing. And my success stories doesn't start without her. So she has to be there, because she was the starting point always. And that's how I ended up in Ireland. Then I did my masters, I did a lot of part-time job, I had a lot of failed relationships as well. So I guess I struggled a lot during my student time, because new country, no family, no friends. Then I had to earn some money as well to pay back the loans that I took huge from back in India to do my masters. And at some point, I literally broke down.
Were you doing those on your own then? Did you take on that financial responsibility your own?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I took education loan, which I got it, which we had to mortgage our house, and then I got it, because to take some loan you had to mortgage something, like property. And we mortgaged the house that we are currently staying in, and that's how I got the loan to do my education and all. And I think most of the students who do this, they do something like that, because it's, for middle class it's impossible.
Sure.
So that's how I did. And the installments and EMIs, they started coming up, and it was deducted from my father's account. So it was a huge loss for them, because the numbers that were getting out of his account were really bad. And that's how I started doing my part-time job. So I was in security, event stewardess, standing jobs. Then I worked in cash on cash till stores, and all these things. And I used to earn some money, so I used to send back. That was quite challenging with studies and all, but with everybody's support and everything that is happening, around me, I just got the courage and all the enlightenment, and somehow I finished it. Then I got a job in one of the logistics in Ireland, which again was a stepping stone for me to where I am today, because that role gave me a big platform. And I must say, my manager at that point, who was in that company, played a huge role in my success. He's still my mentor, and I really adore what he is doing and what he has done for me. So I think, saying this, that a perfect leader is someone who has a good listening skills, who listens to somebody and then help him making a leader one day. So that's a perfect leader for me, and I think it came from him.
Oh,
So
okay, so you had something going on, and just by communicating to him some of your desires, he was,
yes.
able to give you some advice and maybe some guidance that helped you along your way. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, there was no point at all where he said no to me. He was
Oh.
like, yes, I think you should go for this, because I felt that thing gave me so much confidence, because whatever I was doing, it was something I wanted to do, right? It was my happiness in it. And even though if I was failing, I knew where I had to change things, because I took the responsibilities on me, right?
Oh, okay. So, because that's one of my questions that just popped out, is not only was he listening to what you wanted to help guide you, but he must have seen some talent and some
Yes.
skill inside of you that helped connect those two, to make it truly possible.
Yeah, I guess it was eagerness, fearlessness, and confidence of doing things. I mean, I failed so many times in my life, but that didn't break me at all. And I am not bragging about this, but this is something I think it's really a good learning platform for me. I took all of my failures as my strength rather than weakness, because if I had taken them as weakness, I don't think I would have been able to learn from them. I would have just kept thinking that, oh my God, I just keep failing. Why should I go for it? But no, I
Yep.
was like, oh my God, I failed. That's fine. I'll just go and try something else, because, I need to clear this. I had that urge to do it.
Yeah. Where do you think that came from? So there's that. And I also still want to understand, as a little girl, two things. Were you always treating those failures like that even as a little girl?
I think so. I did. Yeah. Because I had this thing in me that I want to do it no matter what. It doesn't matter that I'm failing. And it came a lot from me when I was I was an athlete back there. So I used to do skating as well, roller skates and all. And I went in championship and all. And I felt so like literally my knees still have the scars of falling down and all. So I think that made me a lot strong. Back that time, my mom used to tell me that we didn't had much support from our relatives or family and all, and it was her struggling. I took care of my brother when I was a child as well. So I've seen him grow. I treated him, as if I am his mother. So my mom was so helpful at that point. He used to tell my brother, do everything you want in your life, never ever upset your sister.
Aw.
She made him realize, what worth a girl is, or a sister is, or a mother is in your life, and what people has done for you. Because and I really really adore this thing of her, and I really love my brother, because I think he has that. So we fight a lot. We literally fight a lot, like, Tom and Jerry, and we are so bad. Like, we used to fight with hands as well. Some point I'm bleeding from here, he's bleeding from there. But at the same time, we have so much love, and I think if the fightings wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have been loving each other so much.
Oh, that's an interesting perspective. So there was a rupture and a repair process that went
Yeah.
along with that.
Yeah, it
Awesome.
was, yeah. So yeah, that was really, I think, something that gave me all the courage and stuffs to accept my failures, rather than blaming it. I used to accept it all the time that this is because of me, nobody else played. Sometimes I used to blame my dad that you didn't cheer up enough, for me to win that game. But I think, yeah, my dad played. My dad is really good in the sports because he used to play sports as well, and he wanted me. And he's a good singer, he's a good dancer. So again, I got all these skills from him. I love dancing, I love singing. I was good in sports, and he never really bothered in my academic career and all these things. My mom was into all this, so I guess I have two separate pillars. You're supporting me. So yeah, I think that's how I got all that from that sports thing.
Awesome. So you haven't really mentioned, and I'm dying to understand, math and science as a little girl. You what, obviously you had to have been going to school and learning these subjects. What was that like for you? Do you remember?
I don't remember anything apart from ABCD. If you ask me what did you learn in your ninth standard, I'm like, what? Did I ever go to ninth standard? I mean, as I said, I was a very average student, but in my board, like the 10th standard is the board, which has everything, that marks are calculated if you want to go in college and all. And I scored really good. I was on above 80 percentile and all that thing. So everybody was wondering what happened to this girl all of a sudden. How is she, being on the merit list? So
Right. It's like what these are like two different worlds.
yeah, I mean, at that point, I was like, I couldn't believe myself. I was like, what did I just do in here? Like, what happened? How can I? Because being an average student, always on the 60s percentile, I was like, how 80 percentile? I just can't believe it. But I think I never liked math. I am so bad in math. I literally failed so many times in math. I'm like, I can't do it. It's like so
Really?
bad. Yeah. And I loved science. I loved
Yeah.
science a lot, but I never had bio, but physics, chemistry, and all that thing. So I loved science. I still love science. I love to explore and all. So I am a lot into multiverse and metaverse and all these things. So that interests me. And that's why I love science, I guess. But math gave me a lot of difficult times in my life. And my brother is really good at maths. Oh my god, he's amazing. And sometimes when he's doing his problem, like it goes just up on top of my head, even though that's like 10th standard math. Like, oh my god, I
Yeah.
can't do it. So that's something I would say is really the bad side of me, or the not intellectual side of me, that I don't like maths and I am super bad. But yeah, I think I don't remember anything about the
That
math
is
and
so
science.
fascinating. But it definitely sounds like, from your experience and the opportunities that you got into, you're definitely a strong leader. It sounds like you build communities. Tell us a little bit about how is that natural for you? Where did some of your leadership skills come from?
Again, I would quote my mom in here. So she was into politics
Oh,
quite a time back, and she had this leadership skills, I guess, by birth or something. And I got it from looking at her. So she is a big social worker. She loves helping people a lot. So she went into politics not just to, not with the aiming of fame and name and all this thing. She wanted to be in politics to help people. So I think a genuine politician, I've seen that having so much of within her to help people, without any. And she loves inviting people. She cook for them, and then she'll cry, I keep cooking all the day for people, nobody cooks for me. I was like, you invite everybody and you cook for them, and now you are crying. So me and my dad always pull her leg, and like and she loves doing it, by the way. I mean, she's a really good cook, and she loves feeding people. So I guess I saw her from the very beginning. I've seen her crying, I've seen her happy, I've seen her struggling. And the only thing I saw that makes her happy is helping people. And her family is so important to her. I mean, she would do everything for her family, for us. So that, I think that was the instinct for me, where I realized that I think I am also a natural leader like my mom. I want to help people, and that's why I chose to build this community and all. Because I had some personal experience being, being a woman first, coming to a country like, Ireland, where it's so challenging, such an IT oriented, so many people coming from all over the world to do their masters and everything. And I felt that I had no mentor at that point. I was struggling to find an advice consultation. I saw a lot of websites. There are so many websites on, women in tech, and a lot of people talking about consultation and all. But then, for a 30 minutes call, you pay $200, $150 for a consultation. And I couldn't afford. I'm a student. I am just earning every single penny to send it back to home, and just for a consultation, why will I pay $150? So I had those challenges because at some point I needed somebody who can guide me through a right path, who I got when I entered the industry, right? Like the logistics, when I got my job. So I just felt, I discussed this with my mentor at that point. I was like, I think I have this, within me, that I want to help people now who have been going through the same situation, who are facing the same problems. And that's when it clicked that I should create a platform for them. That's Women in Tech. So LinkedIn was kind of a really big social platform where people used to reach out to me as well, since I got a job and I was in the university. So they keep searching, who can help and who cannot. And I got a lot of messages saying, hey, I am joining this university, could you help me out, understand? So that's why Women in Tech. And then I made it International Women in Tech, because there were people from all over the globe who were reaching out saying, see, your group says Women in Tech Ireland, and we would love to join, but I don't think we can. So I changed the name to International Women in Tech.
Uh,
And I got really good, overwhelming response in there. So the main motive behind the group is just to help people. There is no commercial aspect to it. I don't charge anybody to join the group. I don't charge anybody. So I started this 30 minutes coffee chat with Jeevantika. And literally within 60 days, I took 100 calls from people everywhere.
wow.
So from graduates to, people transitioning from one job to another job, mothers who had breaks and now want to come back to the tech industry. So I just feel so excited talking to them, and literally an urge from inside to help them to whatever they want to achieve. And they agree to everything that I say, that of course they cannot afford and they don't want to pay, to any consultancy firm for getting this. So I just thought, I mean, I am doing nothing right. I have some spare time, and why shouldn't I give this time to people who need? I know I make sure that I have time for myself, play games and all, because I love playing games. But at the same point, I think I get another level happiness and excitement helping people. So
Yeah.
I started hosting a lot of events for the group, inviting a lot of women to join the group, and whoever wants to join the group, like an organization who want to host a group, I make sure that they know this is a non-commercial platform where you don't charge people to join the events and all. So they can maximize benefit out of my group, but they need to make sure that the group people are getting all the services and all the help that they are looking for. So that's the only criteria I have in the group. Apart from that, it's open and free for all.
Awesome. I love it. So you're from India, you're in Ireland, you have a husband in Germany, you've traveled the globe. How important is culture in the workplace?
I think it's so important to have a diverse culture in the workplace, because you learn a lot of things. The more diverse culture you have, the more diverse talent you have, right? I mean, I am from India, I have a different background. Somebody's from America, they have a different background. Same goes for, different countries in Western Europe or whatever country they belong to. So everybody has different culture, different tradition, and they bring different values on the table, right? So if all the Indians are working in one company, we have the same values going around, we have the same culture going around, we're talking about the same thing, and somewhere the ideas are matching at some point, because we are from the same culture. But if you have 10 people on the table from 10 different countries, 10 different background, 10 different languages, 10 different values, you get to hear each and every point. So right now I am learning a lot from you, because we both are from different culture. You have so much to talk about your culture, I have so much to talk about my culture, and you learn about my culture. So I think that gives the whole environment at your workplace to think differently, and adopt the ideas and work according to that, which brings a different success stories outside rather than having one success story.
Right. And I guess thank you for that, because on an intellectual level, I can understand the need for diversity and how that does add perspectives. Just when you were talking about that, two things came up for me. Is number one, I've traveled the world myself, and India actually is a very important part of my experience, because I spent 3.5 weeks in India working.
Oh wow.
Now, I know, and I loved it. Now, before I went, there's a bunch of other guys from my company who I traveled with.
Yeah.
I was the only woman. I mean, that's the typical story for me in engineering. I'm always a lot of times,
Yeah.
sometimes I can say I was always, most of the time I was the only woman in the room, right? So when I traveled to India, I was getting, a male perspective too of how to prepare for the travel and then, navigate through that. And that was one thing that definitely stood out to me as number one, is there is such beauty in the women from India. And that really stood out in my travel and my time there. And I didn't know even how to I want to say I didn't know how to handle it, because after I returned, part of that was probably because, when you travel, you're working 12-hour days, and I'm just witnessing this culture and this whole experience for me. And it probably wasn't until I was home and I really had time to process it, I wanted to go back. Because it wasn't until then where I was like, I had so many questions for the women. And because I was just so busy with the work, I really didn't have enough time to, I guess, have a social interaction or even understand what to ask. I mean, to me, that what stood out was just how beautiful the flowers and the marketplaces looked,
Yeah.
and the clothes that they wore. I was always in such shock of how colorful and beautiful,
Yeah.
and it just looked like they were wearing brand new clothes every day. And I thought, how do you keep these so clean? So that's a big culture impact to me, and it did change me. It kind of informed me in a different way. The second part of culture is my mother. Now, she's from Puerto Rico, so she's
Mhm.
Hispanic. And a lot of times she talked about how she felt that the people in her circle in Pennsylvania didn't understand culture. She just kept saying they don't understand culture, and I thought to myself, Mom, I'm not even sure what I know about your culture.
Yeah.
So I think she knew what it meant to her, but it was difficult for her, I think, because she endured a lot of criticism,
Yeah.
and it wasn't very favorable for her to express her culture, so she held it in. So as an adult, I'm thinking, I don't even know your culture, and you
Yeah.
say how important it is. So I appreciate the perspective, and it colors your world, if you will.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. I mean, I know India is full of so many cultures. I mean, in India, there are so many languages people speak, and there are different cultures, different religion in India, and so many people, doing different things. So it's kind of a mixture of a lot of things, hundreds of things, I would say. And I really love the tradition. I really love the festivals. Like, the good thing in India is people celebrate all the festivals, even though if it's not from their traditional culture, which is the best thing. And I think that's what brings every culture together, because like there is this, all these wars going on, and people talking about culture, people fighting over religion, people fighting over culture. But I think once you start knowing the culture, the tradition, the religion, you kind of feel that it's one. You're not different from the other person. But if you look from far away, you'll be like, oh, I'm not going to talk to them because they're not from my religion, they're not from my culture. This happens a lot in India. And now things are changing, and women have been facing the wrath of this, all the differences. They're not allowed to work, they're not allowed to, if you are 20 years old, get married the next day because you are now at your age. So that's one, a lot of old people at some point have that in their head because they have been raised that way. And the young generation have a different side of the story because their parents are not raising them that way. So it's totally a point of thinking, and thinking in a positive way, mixing up in the culture, talking to, letting your children, and it always starts from childhood, right? Whatever you feed your children, they will start growing up with it. So feed them with positivity, feed them with the positive culture, and see what the outcome is, right? I mean, it's completely going to be different from what you had faced. So I know a lot of people have bad experiences, bad, they really had some sad moments that they went through, which made them think that this is how the society is, and there's nobody else who's going to change it. But I think to bring a change, it just take one person. One person needs to talk about it, it goes to the second person, and the second person starts talking about it, and that's how the momento starts. That's how the circle goes on. So I think it's very important that at least you take an initiative, right? Me being, talking about women in tech, women, all this gender equality, and so that is giving a voice outside. But somebody needs to adopt it. I mean, I can be the initiative, but somebody needs to be, a hand for me to help me grow this initiative. And that's how you come in the community. That's where the community grows, and that's where people really start thinking in a different way. So that's what International Women in Tech is also doing. I mean, I have so many people who are supporting me, and I'm so grateful to them for being such a big support and thinking in that way, because in some or the other way they have had gone through the same situation, right, at some point. I mean, in not the exact way, but some or the other way. So culture makes a big difference, I would say, in everything. It's not just the workplace, but on a personal level and on a broader level, it makes a huge difference.
Right. So, as a leader in the business world, are you strategic in that way when you build a team that you're looking for diversity?
Yes, of course, every time. I mean, I do believe that uh, one of my manager currently where I work in Microsoft as a cloud solution architect, and one of my managers, she always keeps saying about male advocacy and why it is so important. Because for women to be on the 50-50 level, it's really important to have a support from a male advocate. And so does the people, males outside, they need to be an advocate for their mother, for their wife, for their daughter, for their peers, for their colleagues, and everybody. So if you want to talk about equality, you have to work equally, right?
Totally agreed. So, what does that really mean to you then, for as for you to seek male advocacy? What does that mean?
I think I mean, just make bringing this awareness outside to the community that we need you. It shouldn't be always about women, women, women. I know, because if you do some events, if you talk about something, we always talk about women equality. We need women outside. We are talking about women in tech, why women should do this, why women leadership. But it should be more about diversity, and it should be more about gender equality now, rather than just talking about women, women, women. Because it is a natural tendency to think, people outside, that this event is just for women, why should we go? For now, this is natural, and we need to change that thinking, right?
Oh, so are you saying that within the women's group, you're looking to bring some males in? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
Yes. So
Oh,
I do have an international women in tech. There are so many males joining me, and that's a perfect example of male advocates. Like they are supporting women, they are bringing a lot of things. So I've seen people posting a lot of, especially male posting a lot of things for women out there. Like, this is the growth. I'm running this conference for women. You should come and join. So that's a perfect example of, male advocate, and we should have that more. So I'm just thinking, like, how can we make this more diverse than just talking about women in tech? We are working towards equality, right? And we should have equal crowd, we should have equal talents. So whatever a female is doing, a male should have the same thing, and whatever a male is doing, the female should have the same thing. So I always encourage females to go and have male mentors, and I always encourage males to have at least one female mentor.
okay, perfect. Thank you. Because I find it also interesting in a couple ways. A lot of times, even in my career, I really felt like just showing up and doing my job and showing that a woman could do it was was going to be enough. And after 30 years, and I find out that no, we're losing our women. I felt, how did I I not looking at it as a failure. It was more like, what could I have done more? And so maybe I didn't have enough conversations, maybe just showing up and not communicating, or having relationships in a strategic way that really drive toward that equality.
Right.
And this is the interesting thing that I find too, because I like, and I'm okay being completely biased. So I say I am a woman's leadership coach. And the interesting thing is that half of my clients are men.
Yeah.
And I love it because men are kind of like, they're better at dropping the labels and just going for what they want. They just
Yeah.
see, oh, this is a leadership thing, or maybe this person has something that I can learn from. And I want it. They just go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's right. And that is where the real test is, to make people realize if you are going to an event that is totally for women, that shows that you have such a strong, passion towards helping women grow. So yes, I mean, people looking at the, title International Women in Tech and then joining the group, the male counterparts, is so amazing for me, and I really admire them out there, that you are being the perfect advocate for what a woman needs, out there. So I mean, you should have multiple mentors. I have so many mentors, and it's kind of a mixture of everybody, and I encourage everybody. So people say, like, how do I find my perfect mentor? I'm like, there's nothing as perfect mentor. It's all about what you want. At some point you want, somebody who is really good in the tech industry, so you need to have a tech mentor, and that is a different story. Sometimes you need a coach, sometimes you need a mindful coach who can help you, bring your confidence back. So that's a different mentor. You can have multiple mentors, but make sure you have a diverse, team of mentors. You cannot have female mentors all the time, or you cannot have male mentors all the time.
Right. So, so important. And I think too, as we start to look toward the future, what do you think the future looks like? The more we incorporate cultures, the more we can incorporate diversity and inclusion, all of these things. Where are we going in the world?
I think we are going towards unity. That is so important now, because we are all different. We belong to different culture. We belong to different, traditions. But we are, at the end, we are all human beings. We are created by one person, and like, I don't know who created us, but we are one, and just belonging to different community, that doesn't mean that we are, not human beings at all. So I guess we need to work towards humanity, and talking about humanism, rather than talking about, religion, talking about all these things. It's really good to have faith. I am not very religious, and I'm not atheist as well, but I admire everything. I admire all the religion. I have faith in, gods and everything that we talk about. And I love this. I really love talking about this thing. I really love listening to it, what people have to say, because I learn from them as well. But I think the future that we are working towards should be towards unity and humanity, and culture will bring us together, because that is the base to all the foundation.
Yeah. So that's interesting. And thanks for touching back on the culture, because I think there's a part of that where there's a fear of losing some culture.
Yeah,
So the traditions maybe are in fear of some degradation or some loss when there's so much diversity.
yeah.
Uh, and it's really important actually to maintain those cultures in their real essence because they have so much richness.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm totally, all in with all these things, that the efforts that are people putting in, so many people are putting in to bring everybody together, to bring the culture together, talk about diversity and culture in every workplace, in every organization almost these days. So I really admire what they are doing. Every organization, every individual, whatever, initiative that they are taking out, I think it's for the best, and I think that should be kept on. And this shouldn't be a business, because I've seen diversity and inclusion, culture and diversity being a business outside. But I think this should be more of a cause towards something better,
Right.
towards a better future, towards a more future which unites each of us, which brings humanity back to life, and there are no more wars. I hate the wars and stuff, why people killing each other. So I just want this, um the maybe at some point I feel that technology, culture, all these tradition plays such an important role to bring that unanimous and equality within the people, outside.
Agreed. Is there any either anecdotes or statistics that you know of where it shows a correlation between diversity and a positive impact or progression in technology?
I don't think I have numbers, but I think these days what things are going, according to a lot of articles, a lot of communities that I've been looking, and I think technology is kind of the base again to the whole foundation that we are building in terms of culture, diversity, and inclusion, because it is starting. Everything is about technology these days. People say that I am not a techie person, I don't know about technology, but that's wrong. You know about technology, you are using technology every single day. You use your laptop, you use phone, and that's technology. You know technology. You can't say that I don't know anything about technology. That's wrong, completely wrong. So I want them to make themselves aware that they are involved in technology, and in some or the other way they are a part of this initiative. They just need to realize that this is going to make an impact. And if one person realizes this, I think it's going to be the whole community realizing it soon. So I don't think the day is very far, and there is a lot to do still. We have a lot to talk about. We still need to have that 50-50 percentage. I don't think we are almost there. I cannot say that, but I think I don't see where things could stop us, and we are coming back to the same zero level at this point. But I think it's growing. People are changing. The thoughts are changing, and the cultures are changing, traditions are changing, so which is really good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to say that progress is inevitable. We will figure out a way to do that. So,
Definitely.
in closing, it has been such a fabulous conversation with you. I appreciate your perspective, your expertise, your story, definitely about your family. It's been such a lovely opportunity to hear what strong ties you have with such an amazing family. So, in closing, do you have an inspirational quote to share with everyone?
Yeah, happily. I think I share this with every single person I talk to, and which is really close to my heart, I would say. And I've always been looking forward to explaining this to everyone, and I've always been following this code. It's don't fear losing, fear not trying. So that's the key towards the success for me, and I think it's a starting point for a lot of them to think about this. to think about, imposter syndrome. A lot of people I've been talking to, they talk about imposter syndrome. I think I have imposter syndrome. I think there's nothing like imposter syndrome, because they start to feel that there's some kind of a disease that they have, and which is wrong. This is in their thoughts. Imposter syndrome is about thoughts and thinking process. If you remove the word imposter syndrome for your dictionary, you will never ever say this to anyone that you have imposter syndrome, because you don't. It all comes from within. All comes from confidence. So once you are fearless, once you're confident that, even though if you're losing, you know how to get up, you have a solution, be ready, and you can definitely reach towards your goals, right? So
Awesome.
that's the thought process behind. Don't fear failure, but fear not trying.
I love it. It is perfect and actually heavy on my thoughts this week. So, thank you for being a part of the conversation for inspiring women's leadership. Coffee Time with Kauffman is the comfortable place to discuss women's leadership because I am on a mission to help the world discover the truth about what women are capable of. When you are ready for a leadership mastery makeover, go to mariakaufman.com and click on Consult a Coach, where you can schedule time with me for an empowerment session. Have a great week. Enjoy your adventures. And Jeevantika, thank you so much for an amazing time. It has been a pleasure to have you on as a guest.
Thank you so much for your time and inviting me to this amazing platform of Kaufman Initiative.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care. Bye bye.